There is a kind of pain that hurts twice, first because of what is happening, and then because you feel like you shouldn't be feeling this at all. You pray. You try to do the right thing. You avoid what you know is wrong. Even so, things fall apart. And then comes the question you don't dare to say out loud. What's the point? You see people who don't care about God prospering. You see unjust people moving ahead, while you struggle just to stay on your feet. And deep down, a dangerous feeling starts to grow, a sense of unfairness toward God Himself. I'm trying, so why does nothing seem to change? The comparison is almost automatic. You don't want to feel it, but you do. You open social media, look at other people's lives, see achievements, smiles, doors opening, and your life feels stuck, heavy, full of obstacles. The faith that once felt like a refuge starts to feel like a place of silent frustration. And the worst part isn't the pain. It's the guilt. Guilt for being sad. Guilt for being frustrated. Guilt for sometimes even feeling angry at God. You think, a real Christian shouldn't feel this way. So you hide it. You keep praying beautiful prayers, while inside you're confused, tired, and even disappointed. Not because you stopped believing in God, but because you don't understand what He is doing, or why He seems to be doing nothing at all. It's an internal conflict. You love God, but you're hurt. You trust Him, but you're exhausted. You want to stay strong, but some days you just want to give up trying to understand. And do you know what makes this even heavier? The silence. You pray about the pain, and nothing changes. You ask for answers, and heaven seems closed. You ask for relief, and the weight remains. Your mind starts creating dangerous interpretations. Maybe God is disappointed in me. Maybe I don't have enough faith. Maybe He's distant. But deep down, what hurts most is not just the difficulty itself. It's feeling like you're suffering, and that God who could fix it is not intervening the way you expected. This pain is lonely. On the outside, you keep living, smiling, fulfilling your responsibilities. But on the inside, there's a knot, a mix of faith, frustration, and unanswered questions. And almost no one talks about this. Almost no one admits that it's possible to love God and at the same time, be deeply hurt by what you're going through. Pain does not mean the absence of God, but almost everyone interprets it that way. Many people learned about faith the wrong way, and only discover that when life falls apart. You were taught that having faith was almost like having spiritual insurance against tragedy. That if you prayed, obeyed, and tried to do everything right, God would spare you from the hardest pains. Even if no one said it exactly like that, the message settled in your mind. If I do everything right, nothing bad will happen to me. So you did. Or at least, you genuinely tried. You worked on becoming a better person. You tried to walk away from what you knew was wrong. You prayed for direction, protection, and care. But life didn't follow the script you were promised. Disappointment came. Loss came. Injustice came. A kind of pain that doesn't match the idea of a blessed life came. And it wasn't just the problem that shook you, it was the collision between reality and expectation. Because deep down you thought, this wasn't supposed to be happening to me. I have faith. This is where many spiritual crises are born. It's not just the pain. It's the feeling that God broke an agreement He never actually made. You start wondering if you failed somehow, if you sinned without realizing it, if you didn't pray enough, if you didn't have enough faith. Because in the logic you were taught, suffering is always a sign of failure, lack of faith, or punishment. But the Bible never sold that version of faith. People did. Look at Job, faithful, upright, God-fearing, and yet he lost possessions, health, and children. Look at David, called a man after God's own heart, yet persecuted, betrayed, and emotionally broken at many points. Look at Paul, who dedicated his life to preaching the gospel and received prisons, beatings, rejection, and constant pain in return. None of them were outside God's will when they suffered. They were right in the middle of it. The problem is that faith was turned into a formula for controlling life. I do my part, God protects me from all harm. But faith is not a contract of immunity from suffering. Faith is trust in God even when suffering arrives. When you believe the wrong version, every difficulty becomes a threat to your faith. Because if pain exists, then, in your logic, either God failed or you failed him. But when you understand that pain is part of the human experience, even for the faithful, something shifts. The suffering still hurts, but it stops being automatic proof of divine abandonment. Maybe the issue isn't what you're going through, but what you were told would never happen. There is a kind of transformation that only happens when everything that used to support you starts to fall apart. In seasons of pain, the first thing God often works on is our self-sufficiency. When everything is going well, we tend to think we're in control. We believe our achievements come only from our strength, our decisions, our ability to solve problems. Even people of faith can, without noticing, place far more trust in themselves than in God. Pain breaks that illusion. It puts you in situations that can't be solved by effort, intelligence, or planning. You pray not out of habit, but out of real need. It's no longer God bless my plans, but God, I don't know what to do. And in that place of fragility, a more genuine, less theoretical dependence is born. Another thing that grows in suffering is a faith that doesn't depend on feelings. When everything is going well, it's easy to say you trust God. Emotions help. Results encourage you. But in the wilderness, you often pray and feel nothing. You worship without chills. You keep walking without seeing immediate change. That faith is deeper. It's not driven by sensations, but by decision. It's the choice to keep trusting even when your heart is tired. And this kind of faith is far more resilient, because it doesn't collapse every time emotions shift. Character is also shaped in pain in ways comfort never could. Patience doesn't develop when everything happens quickly. Perseverance isn't born when nothing goes wrong. Humility rarely grows when everything is under control. Difficult processes reveal what is truly inside you, and at the same time, create space for God to form something new there. In addition, many seasons of pain are actually moments of redirection. Sometimes you're holding tightly to plans, places, people, or older versions of yourself that no longer fit what God wants to build. But you wouldn't let go on your own. So crisis comes, not only as suffering, but as transition. What looked like stability starts to fall apart. Doors close. Paths change. And in the middle of the confusion, you feel like you're losing everything, when in reality you're being redirected. The Bible shows that the greatest encounters with God and the deepest transformations happened in the wilderness, a place of scarcity, silence, and vulnerability. It was there that the people of Israel learned to depend daily on God. It was in the wilderness that Jesus was prepared before beginning his public ministry. The wilderness is not a mistake in the journey. Many times, it is the journey. What looks like destruction is often invisible reconstruction. There is a part of walking with God that almost no one teaches you how to go through: silence. Because when God speaks, guides, and answers prayers clearly, everything feels easier. You sense direction, comfort, security. But when heaven goes quiet, the feeling changes completely. What once felt like presence now feels like distance. What was once an answer becomes waiting. And the heart starts to interpret it in a dangerous way. He left. Silence hurts because for us, silence means absence. In human relationships, when someone stops talking, pulls away, and doesn't respond, it usually signals a problem. So we project that onto God. If he doesn't respond like before, we assume we're being ignored, punished, or set aside. But God's silence does not function like human silence. Often, God does not give immediate explanations. And this directly confronts our need for control. We want to understand why things are happening. We want meaning, logic. Why is this happening? How long will this last? What did I do wrong? But in many moments of spiritual life, the answers don't come, at least not when we want them. And that is where faith stops being based on explanations and starts becoming real trust. Immature faith says, I trust because I understand. Mature faith says, I trust even when I don't understand. That doesn't mean the pain disappears. On the contrary, it remains. But in the middle of the darkness, something deeper begins to grow, an intimacy that doesn't depend on constant signs. You keep praying, even without feeling. You keep seeking, even without immediate answers. You remain, even with open questions. It's in this place that your relationship with God stops being superficial. Because when everything is clear, it's easy to stay. But when everything is dark and you still choose to remain, deep roots form. True intimacy is not born only in moments of light, but especially in darkness, when there is no audience, no strong emotion, no visible reward, just you and the decision not to let go of His hand. If this message is speaking to you, subscribe to the channel now. Many people are living in this same silence and think they are alone, and these videos are here to remind them they're not. God works far more in the invisible than in the visible. While you think nothing is happening, He is shaping your inner life, adjusting motives, strengthening your faith, aligning your heart. Silence is not emptiness, it is a construction site you still cannot see. God's silence is not rejection, it is depth. There are seasons in life when everything feels out of place. Faith feels heavier, questions multiply, and answers remain distant. And in the middle of that, a lonely feeling grows, as if you're the only one going through something like this, as if the world kept moving while you got stuck in a phase too hard to explain. But you are not the only one. Throughout history, strong, faithful people full of purpose also walked through seasons when nothing made sense. Times when they prayed and saw no immediate change. When they trusted, yet still cried. Pain is not a sign that you've been excluded from God's care. Many times, it is precisely the setting where that care is working most deeply, even if invisibly. This season you are living does not define the end of your story. The problem is that we tend to turn chapters into conclusions. A hard season becomes "this is my life." A period of silence becomes "God moved away from me." A loss becomes "it's over for me." But you are still in the middle of the process, not at the end. And the middle of the road almost never looks organized or promising. It looks like mess, delay, frustration. But the middle is not the destination. God does not waste pain. What feels like random, meaningless suffering is often shaping parts of your character that would not be formed any other way. Areas of pride being broken. Wrong dependencies being exposed. Strength you didn't even know you had being developed. It's not comfortable, not fast, and not beautiful up close, but it is transformative. You are being prepared, not punished. This is one of the biggest confusions of a tired soul, thinking that every pain is punishment. Not every wilderness is the result of a mistake. Some are necessary paths to take you to a level of maturity, faith, and depth that cannot be built in easy times. God is not pushing you away, He is leading you deeper. What hurts today will make sense tomorrow. Maybe not completely, maybe not with every answer you would like. But one day you will look back and realize that the season you wanted to skip was the very one that sustained you later. That was where your faith stopped being fragile. That was where your view of God matured. That was where you learned to remain, even without understanding. Maybe God is not letting you suffer for nothing. Maybe He is leading you to a place that can only be reached by going through this. Not every pain is punishment.